with the mech. But we're going to talk about a little bit more than that while I take a break and cool off because I've been out in the garage busting ass trying to organize this stuff. And let me tell you, it's sucking pretty hard because all the stuff I want to get rid of, it turns out there's just a lot. I mean, a lot. And I mean, if I sit down and write it down, there's probably going to be 1,000 entries. I mean, I'm just looking at the first bit I have out, and there's probably hundreds of things I need to write down. I mean, granted, I can write down 50 orc boys, 10 knobs. I guess I can write down, three 30K predators with the old style sponsons. I had no idea when it came to Warhammer 4th edition roleplay that I had as many books as I have. I have like 20 books at least, maybe 30. So, yeah, this is going to do a thing. I mean, it's going to be harder on me, honestly, to just figure out what I have than it will be, which is why I gave the guy from the shop the option of me not sending him a list and just packing shit up and taking it to him and letting him look through it. That might just be the easiest thing for everyone involved, but we'll see if that's, I'm hoping that he'll be like, yeah, we'll meet at the store in, Orlando or whatever, and on this day, and I'll have a look and see what you got, and I'll let you know. Now, one thing he has to know is I am well aware of how much a lot of this stuff is worth. And when my wife saw me getting rid of the 4th edition Warhammer stuff, she was not happy. She's not happy at all. And I'm like, why? And she's like, I really like that game. And I was like, oh, man. But then I pointed out to her, well, I have the 2nd edition and a lot of the books for the 2nd edition, right? And I was like, and believe it or not, the 2nd edition is, in my opinion, a better game. I ran 4th because I wanted to run the Enemy Behind the Throne campaign, which was never made for 2nd edition. But so I'm hoping that if my wife ever gets it into her mind that she wants to play Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay again, that I mean, honestly, other than a few things, I don't know that there's enough different to worry about. There's like some careers that exist that didn't in other games. It's a little bit filthier, a little bit dirtier of a setting, really. There's not quite so many big fat people or non-Germanic people running around this fantastical Holy Roman Empire. Which I appreciate, and it's a little bit deadlier, I would say. And how you spend XP is different because you don't buy it per point. You buy it per raise. But it'll be fun. Warhammer 2nd edition, I gotta say, it's so weird because like one of the most hateful, most woke companies on X at least, Green Ronin, they made Warhammer 2nd edition. And beyond a shadow of a doubt, Warhammer 2nd edition is the best edition of Warhammer. In my opinion, not even close. Now, the title Lord, some of you here may be thinking, not that there's only one person here right now. It always takes a while for people to realize I'm live streaming. I guess I could go on Discord and say I'm live. See if anybody notices. Not going to be alive for very long. I have literally so much to do. I just thought while I was here, I would paint the tentacles on this weird, whatever the hell it is, mushroom thing, pink, because, that seems like a good color, right? And for those of you who watched the painting video earlier, this is pretty much what we're looking at. And I'm going to go ahead and put a clear coat on him and call it a day. One thing is, a lot of times just the paint itself will have like this shiny look. And so you might be saying, wait, you're putting a clear coat on it, but you haven't done the metals. And the answer is yes, because I want the metallics to be shiny. And it's easier to just clear cut the mech or clear coat the mech and then go back when the clear coat's dried and do the metals than it is to do the metals and then try to avoid them during the clear coating section of the whole show. Because, I mean, like I said, the juice ain't worth the squeeze like that. And unless you're going to glob this stuff on, which I'm not, it's not going to mess with your details or anything. But it's a fact that for whatever reason, most mechs just look better if they're flat. You don't want any shine off of them. You want them to be flat, like a nice matte color. It makes them look just a little more realistic, just a little more like a thing that could exist. But there we go. Yeah, see, that's already looking better. I barely even hit. So as far as let me do something here. Must be everybody's dinner time, right? I eat early, so now there's a million millions, right? Skittish, not British. Jolly good chat. Skittish, not British. I'm sick of this crap. All right. I have so much to do tonight. Oh my gosh. It's like, really, dude? But yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm exhausted. Not really, but yeah. Tossing things around in the garage, and then the fact that it's like 110 degrees in there, that didn't help. Okay. So let's put our little clear coat on his back. Oh yeah, he's looking way better with that matte coat. The matte coat's really bringing it up. Oh yeah. Yeah, I had a yellow mech I've had forever, and I was never happy with the way it looked. And I couldn't put like my finger on it. I was like, this mech just doesn't look good. It's a black yellow mech, and for some reason, every time I look at it, I'm just like, what is wrong with this damn mech, right? And finally, I was like, let me matte coat that thing. And I did, and it immediately went from not looking that great to looking really good just because it no longer had that shine on it. The shine's no bueno. You know what I mean? So let him dry. So, in gaming news, I have decided after a lot of research, a lot of studying, a lot of really looking at stuff, that I will not be using Destiny to run Mechwarrior if and when I do run Mechwarrior. I will not be using Destiny. I will be using this one, second edition Mechwarrior. There you go. As you can see, my book is pristine because I take care of my books. And the main reason for that is I have the second edition core book. I have the mercenary guide book. I have the this book and the that book and all of the stuff for second and even some first, right? And while I could try to create some sort of Frankenstein monster using all these different systems to do things, at the end of the day, is at least as far as I was thinking, it's not worth it. It is simply just not worth it. I mean, if you want to play Destiny, play Destiny. Have fun with Destiny. By all means, play Destiny. But, and I know this is probably like, some people are going to be like, that is just weird. I just cannot get past the XP equals everything aspect of Destiny. I can't do it. You know, I want to, I would love to, I can't. And I know my player character group well enough to know that they can't either. Right? Because my player character group, they are a bunch of little loot goblins. They want to know exactly how many copper coins they find. Exactly. And when they go out shopping, they want to know exactly how many silver pieces the freaking bowl of ill soup they just ordered is. And I don't think that's bad. And I don't understand why so many modern gamers seem to think that that's a bad thing. It's like, you got to realize that for some people, the opportunity to actually be an incredibly wealthy person who can just go into town and, you know, buy the best of everything for themselves is a huge draw, you know, especially if they came from a poor background or something, right? I mean, they want to know. What? I just want magical damn armor. Well, I mean, oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. You're heading back to town. If you find the dungeon again, which you might, and keep adventuring around again, which you probably will, then we'll see what you get. My wife was piping in from the other room. But yeah, for a lot of players, the actual note keeping of like every arrow, every gold coin, every whatever is huge. And taking that away from them will not make them happy. And I know for a fact that I have at least a couple of those people at my table. Like one of the young ladies at my table, she's always writing down how much wealth they get. Always. That's like her, huh? Yeah, that's like her job. And she takes it serious. She's kind of the banker for the whole damn group. She keeps track of the money. She makes sure everyone has walking around money. If anybody needs anything, she pays for it. So in a way, she's kind of like the mercenary captain. You know, she handles all the proceeds and she pays out everybody as they need it. And then she makes sure they don't get robbed. You know. So that's kind of her thing. And if you know, we played a game that had an abstract loot system, that would take her right out of the game. I mean, her entire focus for even playing the game would just be removed, right? Now, don't get me wrong. She loves to sneak around and kill things because she does play an assassin. But she's also super into, Well, she works at a bank, I think. So if you take it into consideration, then it starts making sense, right? But yeah, so that's kind of my position on this whole thing. It's like, and it's just something that Destiny does. I don't know why they do it. I've complained about it for years at this point. I'm sure some of you are probably sick of hearing me complain about it. But guys, it just is what it is. You can't just be all like, well, we're going to play a role playing game, but we're just going to make it where there's no money. Now, you can't do that. I mean, that's that is some I just don't know who thought that was a good idea and pushed it, because somebody at some point thought that was a good idea and pushed it, and then other people came around behind that person and also thought, that's a good idea. We should do that. And I'm here to tell you guys, I am not opposed to new systems. Before somebody says I'm just a grumpy old grognard, I am not. But that just it hurts the game, right? If you're going to modify a game, make it different, whatever, it should always be because you're making the game better. It should never be because you're making the game worse. You should always add to the game, not take away. If there's a rule that's really bad and you need to drop, well, then you put some other appropriate rule in. Like an example would be initiative in AD&D. You drop that and you put basic D&D initiative in. Works way better. But you wouldn't just get rid of initiative and be like, yeah, we're just doing it this way now. You guys attack just whenever. It's like, so I'll put him here. So, guys, I haven't done the cockpit yet because I'll have to decide whether I want to do it the standard copper red, like from Mechwarrior Online. Let's see if we can get into. I think my finger's in front, and that always jerks the camera around. But okay, you gonna do it or not? What are you doing, camera? So I have Gundam paint markers, and I'll just write what kind of mech this is on the back of the hex. I might actually start doing that with all of my mechs. But yeah. So I just painted a bit of the metal where it looks like it should be metal. And because he is armed with lasers mounted onto a shark, I am going to find my good Pro Aquil yellow. And I'm going to put just a drop of yellow on the insides of the barrels. Because that's kind of a thing I do, Lasers get yellow, plasma or particle guns get blue. That's probably more than I need, but that's fine. And this guy's got looks like a couple of they're either too large and too medium or too medium and too. I need a very small brush for this, or I'm gonna jank it all the hell up. I can already tell. Plus, some of you might have noticed I already shake. So okay. There we go. And now it's got an SRM 4-pack on the shoulder. I am going to do something I almost never ever do. And that is take some of this blood red paint that I got for free from Reaper. because I bought some miniatures, so they decided to give me some paint. So I got my blood red paint over here. Tiny little bit. And I'm going to do my absolute best with a 3.0 to put red just on the missiles themselves. And why red? Because it's a color that stands out, you know. So, and I have to admit, perhaps because of being a Blood Angels fan and everything, I'm a huge fan of reds. So, yeah, there we go. And then, like I said, take the Gundam pin and just write on the back what kind of mech that is, and call it a day. You know. Starting to cool off. And then open this up and see. I think this is where I stored a lot of my transfers. And I'm not seeing them in this drawer. But this guy, I don't know. What should he be? A Free Worlds League guy? Should he be Draconis Combine? I mean, what are we doing here? Oh, why is it saying that chat ain't working? Oh, Rumble's fucking with me again because it makes me sign in all the time. You know, it's like, and then I sign in, it tells me it's not the right password. It's like, fuck you, Rumble. You know? So it's not letting me stream on Rumble right now. That's okay. I don't care. There we go. There we go. I'll have to log into Rumble at some other point. But I've got my Ostel done. I believe that's what that is, the Ostel, except for the cockpit. And I'm pretty happy with what he looks like. And by pretty happy, I mean I would proudly put this Joker on a table against anyone. And it kind of makes me wonder if I shouldn't just paint a whole lance like that, you know? I don't know. I've got a box of unpainted mechs outside that I need to one day work on. Oh man. Whew. Sweating like a moose over here. Long refreshing sip. Yeah, see, this guy right here was the one that just looked bad. It was just shiny and everything. And then I put the clear coat on it. And all of a sudden, it looked way better. Now, where this guy screwed up is, and this is my fault, my personal mercenary unit is yellow and black. He has no black. And his upper legs, upper arms, and shoulders should be black. But I didn't do that. And I'm going to eventually, but for whatever reason, I didn't. So the yellow and black thing, that's been my colors in a couple of different skirmish games, like Gaslands. My cars are all yellow and black, you know, but, and of course, my Lamenter's army was all yellow and black. This Warhound Titan back here is yellow, but it's a really dark blue. But I'll paint another one of these Warhound Titans yellow and black. You watch. Oh, you can't see that. I keep forgetting the camera's facing down. And I have one of my favorite mechs of all time, the Griffin, and I'm painting it. It's going to need a gloss coat because I'm painting it like the General Lee, and I've already found like the 01 and the Confederate flag from the Warlord Games, like 12 millimeter or whatever. Civil War game, which I have the big box, the really big starter box. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely hijack some stuff from that. And hey, Vic, I think you are all. And yes, I know, and yes, I accept it. And you're not wrong. I came close though. Like I really came close. It was definitely a thing that almost happened. But just sitting here painting some mechs and talking about what I'm going to do as far as rules and stuff, which I don't have to worry about that for a long, long time. So I'm not too concerned. She did. You see this? I bought this. It was very cheap. And it's just a bunch of sounds from like D&D, like monsters and like see, I don't know what the hell that is. That's a dragon. Nighttime in the woods. I mean, I'm not planning on overusing it, but I think it could be kind of fun to add a kind of a sound aspect to the game as well as a the rest, the physical, the whatever. I was using my Dungeons and Lasers dungeon tiles last week, but next week I don't think I'm going to. I think next week I'm going to use the Dungeons and Dragons dungeon tiles. They came out with them and they were like in a box with a handle and like this big thick box. And I bought them at like some discount store for I think a couple of dollars, and they were retail like $40 or something, right? So yeah, I picked them up. They sent me the wrong one first. They sent me the one with all the tokens for monsters. And so I had to send them back and be like, you sent me the wrong one. I wanted the terrain box. And I'm happy to send this stuff back to you. And the guy on the other side was like, nah, keep it. I was like, okay. I mean, thank you. So I ended up getting both of those products for like a tenth of what one of them was retailing at. So that was a pretty good deal for me. A pretty good deal indeed. So what is today? Thursday or Friday? Oh, it's Friday. That makes total sense now. I'm like, damn, it's quiet. What's going on? But now I know. It's Friday. Friday is when everyone has their games. DM Bloodworth is probably running his game by now. And that means my Andy Richter, Sir Letholdus of the House of Pilkington, is over there along with the Archmage Shadow. So, because I'm sitting here like, where the hell is everybody tonight? Well, now I know. Now I know. This is the worst night to stream, really. I think Razor Fist is probably on too, live. But then again, I didn't expect to be on here very long anyway. And I just really wanted to chat about the Mechwarrior role-playing game. Like I said, yeah, I like Destiny a lot, but it's just easier, in my opinion, to just go ahead and go all in with like second edition. That's all. That's all. There's no hate. There's no hate for Destiny. I save all my hate for A Time of War because one, the title of it sounds like they're trying to rip off something 40K. You know, and two, because you can't make a character with it. Now, I know that there are people who will come on and be like, that's not true. You're lying. You can make a character out of the second printing. Yeah, well, guess what? I have the first printing, and I'm not going to spend a bunch of money for a second printing because that book is not cheap. And the fact that they had to put out a second printing just so you could make a character kind of tells me what quality you're dealing with. Whereas the FASA version of the game never had that issue. You could pick up first or second edition, even third, because FASA had the 3 editions, right? You could pick any one of those editions up and in no time make the character you wanted to make and be off and running. And so, you know, the fact that they couldn't manage that. And what's crazy is I believe Catalyst owns the rights to the old games. And it's a matter of why are you being stupid, really? You know, it's kind of like you own the rights to the original games, which means you could crack open those original games and steal any of the good ideas you want from them and then re-release them. There's nothing stopping you. Like, instead of making this bullshit unplayable, everybody hates Shadowrun, why don't you crack open first and second edition, see all the stuff that people liked, maybe do some customer polls and stuff like that, right? And then, you know, use that information to make for yourself a game that everyone's going to jump on board with and like. But no, they're like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to, instead of doing that, we're going to make a new game and it's going to suck. And then we're going to sit around because it's like, it's weird because this is a company that's got Battletech, right? Battletech, the rules have barely changed in like 30 something years. Now they're coming out with a new box set and supposedly they're changing some rules, but they're apparently it's not going to be enough to affect anyone's miniature collection. But again, it's like, why? Why are you changing rules though? I mean, why are you doing that? It's obvious that you you have a winning set here. I mean, it's obvious. You've got a winning setup, and all you got to do is not be an asshole. And you'll be fine. And they're messing that up. They're messing the not be an asshole part up. It's like, come on, man. I wish Catalyst would hire me to be like, I don't know, their customer representative or something, so that I could smooth shit over, straighten them out, and get this stuff handled so that they could go to be a good game company. The other thing I would do is, as a businessman, I would be putting out like collectible reprints and all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? Because there's some people out there, myself included, that my favorite version of Shadowrun's second edition. So you could probably milk me for I don't know how much money if you put out a Kickstarter for like a badass, super fancy cover Shadowrun, whatever anniversary second edition, ass kickery, whatever book. But they don't. And it's like that wouldn't even cost a lot up front. I mean, Free League does it. If Free League can do it, then there's no excuse for any other company not to be able to do it. I sent my brother a text and he has not sent back. He's either asleep or he's ignoring me. And neither of those make me happy. So I got all these wolves here. I literally painted these mostly just by using the Vallejo vehicle grime wash. And I'm going to take some of the bag of bones and probably paint their stomachs, just put some splotches of like brown on some of them. Just just to make them not all look identical and super simple, but yeah, they're super simple. Anyway, so I've got 2 copies of Mechwarrior second edition, both in amazing condition. I've got the 3025 manual, the 2750 manual, the 3026 manual. I've got my campaign operations. I've got my book about the succession wars. So yeah, I'm pretty much going to be set when the time comes. When that time comes, I will be set. Let's see how this looks. This is going to look okay. All right. It's subtle enough that it's like whatever, and yet it's gonna yeah, I like that. All right, see, I just put a little bit of brown. It's still wet, but just a little brown on there, and it's a really light brown, so it's not gonna overtake, blot out, or whatever the actual color of the wolf. It's just going to make it look like it's got there's some different colors there, This one, I think I'll put the brown like on its belly more than on the back. I'll just do the belly and the tail. Never have too many wolves. Like, if the adventurers are in the middle of a tundra environment, they're trying to set camp, and in the middle of the night they hear those wolves howling. Yeah, that's brown trousers time, you know? If it's a couple of wolves, no problem. If it's, 20 wolves, that's a problem. And then, of course, if it's wargs being ridden by something, that's an even bigger problem. Actually, was slipped back into normal D&D mode there for a second because um, there are no goblins riding wolves in Hyperborea. It's just not a thing. There are orcs riding giant pigs, but there are no. Yeah, so quick look around. I've got my miniature case here. I've got a warg that fell off of the. Well, he's actually got some spots on him. No problem. Hit him with the brown. Yeah, some of you might notice it's not that I'm not shooting for really good looking miniatures, because I do occasionally go out of my way to make a really good looking miniature, right? But for my game table, I'm mostly looking at efficiency. I'm mostly wanting to just get decent looking miniatures on the table for my players to fight against. Because regardless of what game I'm playing, we tend to be very tactical when it comes to the combat. So that means that whether we're playing Shadowrun or D&D, Hyperborea, whatever it is, um, a lot of times the miniatures come out. And that's just how my table is. And some people will tell you that, you always have the purists that tell you about, mind's eye and all that. And that's totally awesome. That's how we play vampire. When the our referee, who's going to write up, he's moving to away, and he wants to close out the campaign before he leaves. So at some point, he's going to be taking over the DM's chair from Hyperborea, and we're going to finish out the vampire campaign, which has been going on for years now, a couple of years off and on, right? Like, we'll play for 6 months or a year, then we won't play for a couple of years, then we'll play, and then so all of our characters are very powerful by now, as you would expect. I actually got so bored with how powerful my character was in second edition that um I got so bored with how powerful my character was using second edition rules that I converted it over to fifth edition, because vampires in fifth edition, as I've ranted on about time and again, actually have to worry about using their powers and stuff. Whereas in second edition, not, I mean, depending on if you've got a high enough blood pool, you can basically ignore a lot of things, and just do whatever you want like a superhero. But with fifth edition, because you've got to worry about rouse checks and shit like that, I mean, yeah, you could, every time you use one of your big powers, you get hungrier. You know what I mean? So So that's basically that. Yeah, I've decided I'm just going to run second edition Mechwarrior. Probably make them all roll random for which mech they start with too. And for those of you who've never seen second edition Mechwarrior, if you've ever played Shadowrun, the character creation's about the same. Now, if you've never played either of them, then it's basically this. You have, I think, 5 categories. Going from memory here, so cut me a break. And you assign priority between skills, attributes, equipment, money, whatever it is, right? You assign your priorities, and then let's say you put your first priority in equipment. You get to start the game with an assault mech, but you got to random roll what kind of assault mech. If you put your main priority in skills, then of course you've got a shit ton of skills, etc. You guys get what I'm saying here, right? So it makes it really easy if you've got an idea you want to play a mech warrior. So of course you want your agility and reflexes and all that up, and then depending on what kind of mech you want, that's going to determine where you put some points. Because I mean, unless you want to start the game with a freaking 20-ton mech, you might want to put at least enough into that priority to have a medium. Then again, when I was running the game for that year I ran it, one of the players in the game was absolutely piloting a light mech, and he was probably the only player throughout the entire campaign to never get a mech shot out from under him. And it wasn't because he was a coward or anything. It was just because he put, I think, his primary ability into skills and then attributes and then whatever, and put like his last ability into the mech. So he started with his random freaking light mech, but his ability to pilot that thing, I mean, he was basically a veteran mech pilot from the get-go. His attributes were amazing, and his skill level was amazing. So, he was hitting all the time. Like every time he wanted to attack, he had like a gunnery at 2, and that's really, really good. And his piloting was really good. So he was just running amok, And he was working hand in hand with another guy who's basically was piloting a missile boat. So the light mech guy would run out, target enemies, while the missile boat kind of stood back and unloaded LRM-15s at it. And that ended up being a really cool partnership. And then one player we had, he put all of his points so that he could have an assault mech. And the first freaking battle of the campaign, he got his assault mech destroyed. So he spent a couple of different games just riding around in the back of someone else's mech. Basically, I would say riding bitch. What's up, Bastille? How you doing? So yeah, this guy was basically riding bitch in the back of another guy's mech because he got his mech destroyed. And it was 100% his fault too. So, I mean, it was a fun battle. I'll give him that though, because once his mech got destroyed, the other mech got destroyed, and he literally jumped out of his mech with an assault rifle and was running across the battlefield, running and gunning, trying to take the enemy pilot out. And the enemy pilot ended up chucking a hand grenade at him. And I mean, it turned into a mess. But the best kind of mess, you know. So even though, yeah, he got his, I think he had a Banshee. Even though he got his Banshee destroyed, he wasn't like pissed off about it because he had had so much fun during the ensuing battle, you know, on foot. So it was weird. And then he eventually got another mech, but it was a medium that they got for him. So sucks because he basically was driving a medium, but with the attributes and skills of a guy who had prioritized for an assault. And yeah. And then that's when I started the campaign, the search for the black gold. And, you know, I think I've deleted that, but in the campaign Search for Black Gold, the black gold, the adventurers, you know, they hear from some old timer in a bar about the black gold, you know, some kind of freaking Star League era mech that when everything went to shit, they didn't take it, they left it in a bunker somewhere, and all of this sort of thing. And so the players decided to hunt it down. And after, you know, going through a few different planets looking for this thing and getting into fights, and then it turned out they were being tracked by another mercenary team who had heard the same thing, and they figured we'll let them find it, then we'll take it from them, right? And there was a huge battle, and a lot of mechs got wrecked, and more than a couple of pilots got killed. And in the end, when they broke into the Comstar base where it was hidden, the black gold was a thug, and it was a Star League era thug. It wasn't armed or anything, but it just been standing there for, you know, 100+ years. It needed some work, but it was a, you know, 100% functional Star League era thug. And they yeah, they grabbed that thing up, and that was a really good campaign, and the players were really pleased, you know. The guy with the Warhammer gave it up for the thug. Like, everybody was happy. They ended up getting it repaired. And the only problem they had with the thug is they didn't have access to the heat sinks that the thug came equipped with. So anytime during a battle that the thug pilot would lose heat sink, they couldn't replace it, because I think the thug I'm talking about came with double heat sinks. And every time he lost the double heat sinks, then they were trying to, you know, Kajigger, let's say, uh, a reference to Futurama, Kajigger, you know, something else in there. And so over time, the black gold started losing a little bit of its effectiveness, but it was still, you know, badass mech. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was still definitely. Freaking hydrating. Oh man. So while I'm sitting here, it's just about time for me to start thinking about, before too long, getting off. You know who I haven't? I need to get in touch with Saxius. I need to get in touch with Saxius and ask him if he's seen the meme that was made of him, like, as a rogue trader captain and everything like that. Because if he hasn't seen that meme, he needs to. All right. Plain white Charger. Crappy mech. Unless you want to run up and, I guess, drop kick somebody. But let's be honest, this is a crappy mech. The Draconis variant, way better. But I'm getting ready to go over this bad boy with Mantis Warrior Green. because I am going to paint him in a forest camo. Might not do it tonight on video, but eventually. So let's go ahead and get the base green down. And then I'll probably use just normal colors to do the brown and the black. Even though, uh, black's not a good color for camouflage, believe it or not. And yet people use it. So I'll get this guy going. It came in a Pursuit Lance box set. Some of the box sets are absolutely brilliant, and some of them really make you wonder, but it's good marketing. It's good marketing. I have to give it that, because by putting this mech, which most people would consider an absolute piece of shit, in with 3 mechs that are really good. Oh, you did see it, Sax? Yeah, good. Because I liked it a whole lot, and I haven't seen you since I saw the meme, and I was like, that is really good, Like, I hope Saxius sees it and saves it and makes a giant portrait of it and hangs it up in his house. And then him and his girlfriend can sit on, or wife can sit on the couch and just admire Saxius dressed up as an Imperial officer or whatever. I tell you what, I might do that. You know how they have those things where you can send a picture of yourself and they'll like paint you up like you're a noble? I might just send them a picture of myself as a House Merrick Mechwarrior and be like, I don't want to be a noble, just do this. Get a giant portrait of myself in the white and purple uniform. Be like, yeah, hang that baby up. Oh yeah. That might be a little crazy, but then again, I have been a House Merrick enjoyer for probably longer than I've been married. So that is one thing. If you want to talk about philosophy, in Warhammer, a lot of players will play whatever army happens to be the most powerful at any given moment. And yeah, he wanted to make sure there were paperwork. In a lot of skirmish games, whether it's 40K, 30K, fantasy, whatever, a lot of people will gravitate to whichever army, faction, whatever is, getting the love at that particular time, right? Battletech is entirely different. Like 15-year-old kids that decided they were going to rep like the Draconis Combine, 40 years later, they still are. It's like they haven't gone anywhere. It's like the people who rep these different houses, and later, I guess you could say clans, but I hate the clans, so we'll get past that. But the people who've chosen to give their in-game loyalty to these completely made up houses, they tend to be hardcore about it. Like, you see me, I've got my House Merrick pins around here, House Merrick all the way. But then look at Razor Fist, House Merrick all the way. He's got a big House Merrick pin on his jacket. And how long's he been playing? Probably as long as I have. Hungar is a freaking Draconis Combine guy till the end of days. And nothing is going to change that. You know what I mean? Because nothing has. 35 years of the lore going on. Hungar has never once been like, maybe I won't rep. You got Max Lau repping freaking like the worst faction in the game, and he don't care. The Capellans. Does Max care? No, he don't care. He's repping his faction. and he don't care. So, yeah, something about Battletech inspires like a sort of loyalty to your faction. And the fact that for the most part you can all use the same units, I think that does a lot. That has a lot to do with it. Like if I pick to play House Merrick, other than a handful of mechs during the 3025 era, I can pretty much play anything I want. And the same is true for pretty much anything else. And even that handful of mechs, which I'm talking about as being like house specific mechs, even those you could make the argument that you captured it like during a battle. It was your salvage and you got it. And okay. So since everyone has access basically to the same everything, then it really becomes more about love of the lore than, oh, I mean, not counting clanners, because most of the people who jumped on the clan bandwagon are scumbags. But the original, successor states, yeah, it's 100% like when you pick the successor state, it's because you love the lore. And you literally are going to rep that successor state. So that is an interesting thing, I think, about now the clan. Now I shouldn't say they're a bunch of scumbags now, but back in the day when the clan first came out with 3050, yeah, the guys that immediately jumped to playing clanners, they didn't do so because the lore or anything. They did so because they wanted to play the biggest, baddest mech, and they didn't give a shit about lore or anything else. Because honestly, think about it. Who in the hell would ever want to be a clanner? You're born from a tube. You never get to see your parents. You're basically abused. And if you die, who gives a shit? There's no love, no marriage. Everything is straight up eugenics and communism. And, you have a slave caste. It's like by any metric, the clan are absolutely evil, satanic bastards. As a matter of fact, they don't do the religion thing. They got rid of it. Right. Meanwhile, the main religion in the Free Worlds League is like orthodoxy. And in other regions, like in the Draconis Combine, they have Shintoism and Islam. So, it's like, why? I can understand my brother going for Draconis Combine. One, the sort of light regiments being all that blood red and shit, that looks really good. The mechs look good. Two, they have some really good just homebrew mech designs. The Jenner, the Dragon, they're pretty damn good. And three, he's a weeb. So the fact that his character is basically a samurai riding around in like, a 15-foot tall, 20-foot tall death machine. Yeah, I can totally get that. I mean, who couldn't? Who couldn't get that? That's easy to get. But in my career as a 40K player, not that as a career, my hobby as a 40K player, I seen the usual suspects swap armies every time one army was better than the rest in a particular edition or codex. And it's like these guys have no loyalty to anything, right? They are showing up because they want to win. And they're, whereas the whole time I played Warhammer, not fantasy, 40K, I played Blood Angels the whole time. I played Blood Angels when their codex was literally like 5 pages in a freaking White Dwarf magazine. I never gave up. And when I did go away from Blood Angels, it was to play Lamenters. And the Lamenters are just a Blood Angels subchapter. So, same rules, you know? And I think the reason I was hardcore like that is because of I started that kind of wargaming with Baltec. I mean, prior to that, I played like Johnny Reb and stuff like that, and those games, historics. It's like it's not the same. You know, like yeah, I'll play the Confederates at Bull Run one week, and the next week I'll play the Union. It's like whatever. But with BattleTech, if somebody's like, "Here, I need you to play Capellans," I'd be like, "Nah, I want to. Why? Why do I gotta be a Capellan? You know, because that's just not my gig, right?" So that's just an observation that I've had. I should probably do a short about that. I should probably get going because this is the worst night for me to stream. Of course, a lot of people will catch this in the repeat, but yeah, I'm butting in on 3 different games that are going on. My boy Razor Fist is probably going on, which Mr. Fist, thank you for calling my channel out last week. Appreciate it. And also, I need to let Razor Fist know us House Merrick boys need to stick together. Because everybody talks shit about the Free Worlds League. So we need to stick together against these bastards. These bastardos. Hey, bastardo. What's up, Chebs? Yeah, well, I don't know how much of that observation you heard, but it was just me talking about how in 40K people would switch armies like socks. But in old school Baltec, even up to now, when people chose a faction, they would stick with that faction. There was like some real loyalty there. And I can only assume it's because everyone had access mostly to the same equipment. So why did I become a guy who was super, loyal to House Merrick? Because the lore made me loyal to House Merrick. I read the lore of the different houses, and I was like, yeah, I'm repping House Merrick. And my brother was repping his samurai. Sometimes you go by Bastardo. I don't even remember what movie that is. Maybe Johnny Dangerously or something. You son of the beaches. Right? The Greek guy or whatever. And they're like, you farging assholes. I mean, that's a good movie, and a movie that actually had Weird Al on the soundtrack. So, I mean, how do you beat that, right? But so that's just a kind of because okay, guys, I was cursed with an overactive pattern recognition, and it gets me in trouble. It really does. I get in trouble all the time for noticing shit that I shouldn't notice. What's up, Doc?
Hey, Coach Alive. What's going on, man?
I'm resting up before I get to the rest of my labors.
Are these
I've got
Herculean
like 10
labors?
labors of Hercules tonight. I ripped I ripped about a quarter of the stuff I'm selling out, and it's on table that has to go into the box. Then the floors vacuumed and mopped. But the good thing about the floors is my wife will sleep right through me vacuuming shit. You know what I mean? So that's fine. But having so much stuff I want to trade in, I'm contacting this guy on the phone, and it's like, show me what you got. And I'm like, dude, like we could be on the phone for like 3 hours. Purple bird strong. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Purple bird, bird's word. Yes, the only time I stopped playing Blood Angels or Blood Angels Successor Chapter, which I had a great Lamenter's army done up, is when I played my Imperial Guard, and it's still Legion. I still own them. So the all metal Imperial Guardsmen that had the long coats and the helmets and the gas masks. Yeah. Yeah.
I always called House Merrick Clan Purple Pigeon.
Clan Purple Pigeon. Yeah, yeah. I'd make sure to headshot your freaking main mech for that. Be like, you'll learn respect for the Purple Pigeon.
The Tory Concordat respects no inner sphere scum.
I don't even think they exist in 3025. So, yeah, whatever.
Oh, you're one of those dirty latter-day players. Ew.
Well, I'm one of those first days players.
Oh,
3025, that's right after all the shit.
Yeah, Tory Concord's kicking ass.
Whereas Catalyst has decided all their new starting boxes are going to be set in the Ilkon era.
Yeah, well, fuck them in the ass is the thing.
And I'm like, well, I won't be buying any of it. They already pissed me off the other day, like I said, because they were selling Draconis Combine specific box sets. And there's not a single mech in the box set that can be played earlier than the Ilkon era. And it's like, so none of these mechs can I even use in my campaign.
Yeah, they're pushing their stuff. And now what's going on with this? They're redoing the rules? Or is this just a reorganization? Or are they like remaking the game?
They're not remaking the game. They're supposedly going to do like this 3-step thing where the first set of rules that you buy in the beginner's box is really simple. And then when you get the main box, it's actually like the full rules. And then if you get like the next box, it's all the optional rules. So they're kind of trying to ease people into it. Will it work? I don't know.
Because the thing is, their box sets are all pretty new. They're all under 5 years, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that's kind of douchey. Yeah, I have all of those. Yeah, I've got Alpha, Beginner, and Armored Combat sitting over there. And I have my big hardcover one that has everything, including all the obscure wackaloon stuff in it.
You're right. For some reason, the Ilkon era is like their era. I don't know why they're doing that, especially since if you actually were to, I guarantee you, if you were to put out like a online like questionnaire, what's your favorite era? Pretty much everyone's going to put Secession Wars.
Yeah.
Maybe
and clan invasion, a lot of people.
And maybe I was going to say leading up to 3050, right? 3058, whatever. But I mean, the Ilkon era, I don't even know what that even is. I feel like the dad in that freaking meme. Yeah. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, everything from Dark Age past is just freaking stupid to me.
Because they're like, this is the Ilkon era. And I'm like, what the hell even is that?
Well, I think the Clan Wolf has taken over Earth. And they're like in charge of everything now and blah, blah, blah. And
and you've got like the first and second Comstar rebellions and all. It's like, okay, no. Can we just get back to when it was good old, some countries that really hated each other, duking it out? Because that was when it was good, You had like the Space Soviet Union, the Capellans.
The thing is, if they make any major alterations to the, because there's like something like 2,500 chassis alone.
They're saying the rule that they're making is only going to affect like 1 or 2 specific pieces of equipment and therefore should not affect anyone's mechs whatsoever.
Yeah, because if they did, I mean, that would be cutting their throats. Because no, everyone would be like, "Nope, fuck you. I've got all this shit. I'm like invested in." And that's one of the reasons it never got a second edition, is because it was kind of like so much stuff was out that you couldn't really redo the rules without just like killing so much stuff.
Well, for me, the fact that the rules didn't change was the strong selling point, especially after, going through Warhammer with their what? They're on their 11th edition, because
Yeah,
every couple years they put out a new edition and F everything up for
and all
everybody.
a new codex for every faction, like every 20 minutes or so, that completely
And
invalidates
then
everything you own.
they have to, of course, pick which faction's going to be the most powerful, so that everyone who doesn't play that faction runs out and buys that army, and everyone else just suffers through it. Yeah, I caught on to their shit. But yeah, so the fact that Battletech, now they did change a rule in Battletech years back, and it was a line of sight rule. And they changed the line of sight rule because people were taking advantage of how you draw line of sight to put a mech on a ridge and shoot at people below the mech, but the people below the mech couldn't shoot back.
Yeah.
So they changed it where if you put yourself on that ridge and shoot down, they can shoot right back. Okay. But that was it. I mean, the biggest one really is the clan invasion was the biggest rule change.
Yeah.
Because they just started adding all that tech and everything, and it was like, wow. What are we even doing now,
I like that stuff for the video games, not the tabletop.
Yeah. I mean, I use it in the video games because you have no choice, and you'd be an idiot not to.
Yeah, because it's basically all automated, so you don't really have to like worry about these, like looking up all this crap. I mean, the game is ponderous as it is.
Well, I mean, how are you going to not use clan technology when you're playing the Ghost Bears expansion to like Mechwarrior 2 or something? I mean, it's like you're literally playing the clan. So they ruined House Steiner. That sucks. If I were not playing House Merrick, I would squeeze in on my brother and we would both be playing Curita. Except I would paint all of my mechs gray and they would all be Ghost Legion. You know what I mean? Whereas Hungar plays like the third sword of light, and they're all like that blood red with the fist holding no, they got the curved dragon. Yeah. I would go Ghost Regiment.
I always do mercenary, like Torian aligned mercenaries.
Well, I mean, in the game currently, when we play, I play my mercenary house, which is Archam's Druzina. And of course, Artyom is or Artyom. He is the guy from Metro, the main character from the video game Metro. Was his name Artyom or Artyom? And then Druzina is just the Russian word for like the house girls and loyal men of a prince. So yeah, like the Saxons would have called them house girls or whatever, but the Russians called them the Druzina, basically knights, but with more Slavic flavor. And my guys paint all their mechs yellow and black because we don't believe in hiding. And my favorite mech is the Grasshopper. I mean, to play.
Speaking of not hiding, let me show you something. Get a kick out of this.
I mean, my favorite mech is the Griffin. Sword of Light, Legion of Vega. Those are both great choices. Hungar went third Sword of Light, and I bought at a pretty decent cost, I hate to say, but there's that from the guy that does the how to paint your mech. He also sells the transfers for every house. And so I had to buy my brother all the Draconis Combine houses, symbols. Now, for me, I bought not only did I buy the Merrick Bird, but I bought the Avenging Angel. It's like the Archangel Michael descending from heaven with a flaming sword. And that's like the whatever Merrick militia. And they just paint their mechs black. So it's like black with Saint Michael and the purple bird. You know what I mean?
Let me show you the lead mech of my mercenary legion, the Murphy Brothers Traveling Murder Circus and Jug Band Orchestra LLC. This is Jangles the Destroyer.
Oh my goodness.
He is a clown.
I see the nose.
Yeah, the light's a little harsher because of the white.
Have I ever tried by Fire and Sword miniatures game? I have not. And that's saying something because most of the guys that have been on this channel with me for like the past 5-10 years, they like to make fun of me for the fact that I'm always jumping from one game to another. But no, my war game of choice right now is Oathmark. And after Oathmark, it's hate to say it, but no, I don't hate to say it. It is a game, or no, yeah, Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, the miniature game.
Oh, is that any good?
I like it a lot, but then again, I also play the bad guys.
Oh, them.
I play the Ironborn. So all of my guys are like pirates and shit like that. And but look at this guy. I painted him up. Oh, I gotta put him down here. I'm holding him in front of the computer screen.
Oh, nice paint job.
Do you recognize him?
Oh, isn't that Fuckhead, the mountain?
That is the mountain that rides. And let me tell you, in this war game, he is his own unit. Like, because the units are all like 4 cavalry or 10 infantry. Except for Craig Arkley Gain. He is his own unit. It might be my jam. I might have to look at it eventually, but like right now, I'm selling off so much stuff. But it's mostly Warhammer stuff. So, good riddance. I'm never playing it again. The guy I used to play with freaking moved to Virginia and become a hermit. So, I'm done with it. And that's a total lie. Because I have 3 armies for Legions Imperialis, and I'm never giving them up. Not in a billion years. I love them. Earlier, I was even showing how I'm painting my Imperial Guard jet fighters. I'm starting with a green on the top, sky blue on the bottom. I'll put some white stripes on the bottom to look like clouds. And then on the top, I'll put some camo to look like dirt. Because I'm basing it on how the British painted their Spitfires in World War II. Because let's be honest, Warhammer 40K is basically World War II, but in the far future.
See, you got me to take out my my mechs now. Now I'm looking at them. I want to play again. Damn.
Yeah, it's like I keep getting told to try. I guess there's an online Mechwarrior game, but.
Yeah, I hear mixed things about it.
But I've heard that it like runs like shit if you want it to look even near like you can recognize something.
There's a fan-made one where you can play any mech or vehicle. I can't remember what the hell it is called.
I bet you if I logged into Battletech Online, I would probably have so many freaking tokens and shit. Because when Battletech Online came out, 10, 15 years ago, I was an early adopter, baby. And when they came out with like those, hey, if you give us all this money, we'll give you these mechs. Oh, yeah. I had all the mechs. The named freaking cataphract, the Ilya Murmets, who happens to be a hero from Russian mythology, Ilya Murmets. But then they added the clan mechs. And I was like, yeah, I'm done. Yeah, you could. You know what? The thing that both Catalyst and Warhammer did, which is weird, is the original mechs and the original epic sets were 6mm. And now they're both like 8mm.
6 is a bit small, I think.
Yeah, but unfortunately, even at Iron Wind Miniatures, no one sells infantry. And I'm fortunate that I have a shit ton of infantry from the old days, the little dudes with the SRM packs and shit.
Yeah.
But because in Alpha Strike, I'll run a combined arms unit. You know what I mean?
I
I've got
have Alpha Strike.
Shiloh
I've never
fighters.
played it.
Yeah, I got my Shiloh heavy bombers and shit. I'll bring it to you. I got my Long Tom. I'll stick that bitch off table and just be like,
oh, I remember getting messed up in a game by a guy who had a king crab that had 2 long toms on it.
Oh my God.
Like one in each arm. Just like destroying us from across the board. It's like, dick.
There's a variant of the catapult that has like what's that freaking super long range artillery missile?
Oh, the Arrow 4, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
sub nuke.
there is a catapult variant that has like the targeting system on one side and just an Arrow 4 pack on the other.
Yeah, that
it only gets 4 shots, but damn, don't be in there. Don't be there when it hits,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the one trick pony is like you unload and get the hell out of there. Like, okay, I'm done, boys. You have fun.
I got so hosed at a tournament one time by a guy playing that bullshit. And I even talked to the guy who was running the tournament. And I'm like, look, artillery does not work this way. I mean, you might want it to work this way, but it does not work this way. You write down the hex you're firing into. You fire it, and then it hits the next turn. But the way these guys were playing it is they were basically direct firing it, except they weren't. But they were using it like they were. And I'm sitting there being like, this is not how that shit works. And the guy's like, well, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, okay. And I lost the game. And then I was like, whatever.
I remember getting messed up badly on a 4-way. We all got wrecked by this guy who took nothing but infantry. And nobody knew what anybody was taking it. None of us had like mechs that were able to, we had like no machine guns or flamers or anything. So he was just like destroying us.
And that, my good sir, is why I almost always take a fire starter in any lance. There's an Urban Max with an Arrow 4.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's not right. That is just not right. But yeah, when
for crowd control.
When I build a lance, depending on, because we play 30-25 TRO, we don't have to worry about BV or anything, right? We can just go by tonnage since we're picking out of the same exact book and we're starting with like 4 or 5 pilots. I always take a light, and then I will always take a medium, and generally I either take a second medium and a heavy, or 1 medium and somehow 2 heavies, depending on which heavies, I almost never take an assault mech because of the tonnage we play at.
Yeah.
But one game, Hungar shows up with his lance, and it's 3 lights and a stalker. And I'm just like, you son of the bitch. Because, I mean, I couldn't do anything to it. I'm like, pew, pew. And that stalker walks up and it's like, large laser, large laser, large laser, large laser, large laser. And then I'm like, hide. And the light mech's like, he's over here, bro. LRMs. Like, leave me alone. So he won that game. I know I like to like razz him and say he's never won a game. He won that game because my Thunderbolt, I mean, I tried. I did everything I could with that T-Bolt, but when you're getting hit by like, an average of 2 heavy lasers per turn, it's like,
it's not going to last. That's one of my favorite mechs,
just
the
doesn't
Thunderbolt.
Work out. And he got some good hits in, so it is what it is. Yeah, I was just noticing to myself, I was talking to myself, I was like, this is the worst night I possibly could have streamed. Because literally every person I know, except for you showing up, is either in a game or watching Salty Cracker or Razor Fist.
Yeah, I actually have to go in a little bit myself, but I
Yeah,
saw
I
you were
didn't
on. I
intend to
wanted
be
to
on
jump
too
in.
long, but you jumped in, so I want to talk to you for a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I've been seeing you in a while. I miss you, James.
Well, I have just been busy, dude. It's not like I'm avoiding anything or not wanting to stream. I've been so busy. I've barely been getting any miniatures painted. This has just like been a weird kind of time as far as relatives and just having a lot of stuff to do. And for the most part, all cool stuff. So don't cry for me, Argentina. You know, I'm not like complaining. It's mostly all stuff that like I want to do. So yeah, but it's so weird because like by the time I get done doing the whatever I did, like whether it's out in the garage doing stuff or whatever, I come in and I'm like, maybe I'll live stream. And then I fall asleep.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm old. Maybe I'll just sit in this chair and crash the fuck out. And that's what I do, excuse my language. And then my wife wakes me up and she's like, go to bed. And then I go to bed. And so I woke up at like 2 a.m. last night and I was like, maybe I'll live stream. And then I was like, nah, I'll go back to sleep. That would have been interesting though, live streaming at like 2 a.m. just to see who's out doing what. I'd probably get to see a lot of my bros from Europe, you know. But yeah, and since I mean, life has been a little strange since the whole kind of fallout that happened, and it's it is what it is, you know. But I will say this though about the urban mech. I have, I think, two companies of them.
Irby.
I have a company of Catalyst Plastic and a company of Partha Metal. And they're not the same exact scale because Catalyst is 8 mil. Yeah. But they're close because the Irby mech, the metal urban mech, was always way bigger than it should have been.
Yeah.
Because the original Partha guy, Rao Partha, that was like sculpting these freaking mechs, was not getting the scale right for like any of it. So, the urban mech come out all chunky as shit, looking like
the assault Irby.
Like a 60-ton mech over there.
The 100-ton assault Irby.
Right? And
goes one hex every 20 turns.
Now, one thing I heard someone was doing, and I don't know if this will become official or not, but supposedly they were working on adding the crabs that we don't have. Because you know how there's a medium crab and the assault, the king. They're talking about adding a heavy crab and a light crab, and the light crab is tentatively called the hermit crab.
They did that with the Marauder, but it never like caught on. I think there's a medium Marauder.
There are a couple of that. Okay, if you get into the Marauder, if you really dig into the lore of it, you've got the Marauder 2, the Night Sky, which is a Star League mech.
Yeah.
You've got maybe 7 or 8 Marauder type chassis that were all built by General Motors. Because the whole Marauder series was a GM thing. And it's just too bad that the stock model sucks balls.
Yeah, you got to get the one that gets rid of ditches the PPCs, goes for the large laser, and puts like the one PPC up top.
Well, the one that I use is the
I
House
think it's the
Merrick
Merrick.
one.
Yeah, the Merrick one is the nice one, I
And
think.
it's got the large lasers. It keeps AC5, but it adds like a bunch of armor and heat sinks.
Yeah.
So you can actually play the mech instead of like walking around. I mean, why would, and this is something I've explained to my brother. If you're playing stock 30-25 mechs, there's no way you want that Marauder. A Thunderbolt will whip its ass.
Yeah.
And that's 10 tons less. But it's just such a bear mech. And heaven help your Marauder if you run up against a player who is playing, like myself, a fucking Orion. Because that Orion is going to curb stomp your ass at every range. Because it can just fire more shit all the time. It's
Yeah,
got better armor.
I don't like anything with an AC5. It's just like wasted space.
You know, I'm kind of like,
I mean, on a light mech, it's okay, whatever.
I'm kind of iffy on the whole AC thing because of the risk of an ammo hit.
Yeah, ammo
You're
goes
just
boom.
dead. But then again, my primary heavy mech that I play in almost every game is an Orion. And that thing's got like an AC10 and some LRMs, but it's also got like a PPC. So basically, by the time you get in the range of a Marauder to engage, the Orion's damage output is like twice as much right off the bat. You're just hammering him. And if you want to kick the heat up, you're really killing that thing. And then on top of that, the Orion's got as good, if not better, armor, depending on whether you're taking the Orion K or whatever, So it's just not a fair. It's not a fair matchup. Let me look here. I have a book that came in just the other day, and I am so thrilled to have it. Like, I can't believe someone pulled their head out of their ass and finally did this. I got to show it down. You know what? I'm done painting. Let's put this up here.
Oh, cool.
Now, you know how they put one of these out, but it was all effed up and it didn't have any of the unseen in it and everything?
Yeah, I have that one.
I got tricked into buying it.
Yeah, I have that too.
I like
all the good mechs
metal all day long.
Yeah, the metal ones are clunky and crappy looking because
I've got metal. The original 80-something Marauders, and they literally look like an egg.
Yeah, I don't like the little
and
spindle
the
arms.
AC5 is so thin, if you breathe on it, it bends. Man. They're horrible. Now I hear on eBay you can sell them for like $50 a piece, but I'm too freaking lazy. What this is the actual original book reprinted.
Oh, nice.
And not only reprinted, but then they added a couple of things. There's some editor's notes about like I remember me and who was talking about in the original book, the Whitworth, because it's so top heavy, you get a -1 when you try to land from a jump. And Max is like, that's not true. And I'm like, it is true. Well, guess what? It is true. In the original book, they added shit like that for some reason.
All the quirks.
Yeah, mechs had weird quirks, like the wiring in the Marauder's arms was weird, and it's got the lambs in it. Not that I'd ever use them. The Cyclops looks like a badass, but I don't want any of that. I am looking here. And here we go. The ON1K Orion. Same speed as a Marauder. Better armor. And it's got medium laser, AC10, LRM15, SRM4 medium laser. So it's hammering the shit out of that Marauder before. I mean, the Marauder's what? Going to fire 2 PPCs and be overheated? Here's our Marauder. PPC, medium laser, AC5, PPC, medium laser. Wait a minute. Since when did this thing have medium lasers?
No, I think it always did.
I don't remember that. However, manufactured General Motors. Yeah, it's got let's look. It's got like 50 points less armor. You know, I mean, Z, don't take this as me saying I don't absolutely love what a Marauder looks like, because that's not what I'm saying. If anything, I'm a little upset that the stock 3025 Marauder sucks so hard, because it's one of the most beautiful mechs in the game, or in freaking Robotech or wherever it came from, right? Now, this one here, though, I didn't remember it having medium lasers. I don't know. Those two medium lasers could make it different, but still under armored for the tonnage, man. Because if I flip back a couple past the Whammer, okay, first off, Grasshopper, that is a beast. Especially if you get the variant that's got like freaking 6 medium lasers on that bitch up on you. It always had them. Then I don't know what I was thinking. I still, though, the stock, I still would take the freaking, I still would take an Orion for the same weight.
Yeah.
But the mech that I will take almost every game for a heavy, if I can, is right here. The goofy as hell looking Thunderbolt.
That's my favorite heavy.
I mean, this thing has more armor than the Marauder and a better weapons layout all day, every day.
I like the offset cockpit too. Just
and it's got machine guns in case your opponent wants to be tricksy and bring some infantry in. This boy will handle that shit. Because you figure a machine gun in this game is probably more like a 20mm chain gun.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a 50 cal. I mean, it's something big. So we got a large laser, LRM-15. Fire that all day as you close. And then when you close, you just start eating him up with large laser, 3 medium lasers. And if you bust any holes in him, just start those SRM-2s going. If the SRM-2 finds a internal slot with some ammo in it, it's up. Well, there's
the end of that.
That's just going to be that.
Fireworks.
Now, I'm going to tell you guys something that all of you Mechwarrior guys out there, you can make fun of me and call me names and stupid and say I smell like old pickles and sauerkraut. Now, that's not necessarily true because I haven't had old pickles or sauerkraut recently. I do love them, though. I have had kimchi, though. My favorite mech of all time.
The Griffin. Badass.
Yep. Do I know that it kind of sucks? Yes. I know that it's mid at best. I love it. That's my medium right there every time. And what do? I stay far away from everybody and just snipe. I'm like, no one's running up on me. And if somebody gets a lucky right torso hit, then it's time for me to just leave. And me and the guys I game with, we have that rule where if a mech is so effed up that it can't fight anymore, you can ask for free passage off the battlefield. And your opponent can decide whether he wants to give it to you or not. And usually we're pretty honorable. We're like, yeah, you're done. Get out of here. We're not trying. We're not assholes running around stomping cockpits.
Yeah. Okay, I got to run, man. I got somebody waiting on me.
We'll
catch you later.
Some people need to get good and learn how range brackets work. Yeah. And the T-Bolt's your favorite too? Mine too. I don't know. It's just, for a 65-ton mech, I've had Thunderbolts hold the line against just everything. I don't know what it is. If there's some kind of magic aura just around the Thunderbolt that says that they just don't want to die. Maybe it's cooked into the plastic they use to make those bad boys. But the T-Bolt just does not want to die. Yeah, that's the thing that kills the Griffin. But let's be honest, of the original 55 tonners, the Wolverine's probably the better one. Up, see, Cheb said it as I was saying it too. Because the Wolverine's got a much more varied weapon loadout. It can brawl. It's got better armor. It's same speed. So yeah, the Wolverine can get it, and it's got machine gun to handle infantry. I mean, if a bunch of infantry gets on a Griffin, it needs to run or die because it can't deal with it. But a Wolverine can unload that 50 cal or whatever it's got and hook them up, right? Now, I think the Shadowhawk is definitely the worst. And one of my favorite other 55 tonners is the Kintaro. But the risk of the Kintaro is it's got so much ammo in it that if anything penetrates, you're pretty much going to be picking that Joker right up because it's going to explode like a nuke, Dervish, I like the Dervish. Same thing though as with the Kintaro. And that's just that it's so full of freaking ammo that there's a really good chance that you're just going to blow up. My brother likes the Dragon a lot. I mean, other than its speed, it's not special. Now, I just painted up, and I did a paint video on how I painted him up. I just painted up an Ostrock, and I did him camouflage just because I wanted to make it hard on myself. And the Ostrock is a pretty respectable mech. I mean, it's under armored, but it's fast and it's got a decent weapon loadout. I mean, of course, if you fire both of those large lasers, you are overheating by one, but you can do that once or twice and then give it a break. You definitely, though, this is definitely not something you want to be brawling with because you will get in trouble. Probably good to hunt down and the Ostall is the same thing. Let me look at this. Yeah. Okay. The Ostall doesn't have the missile launchers, but it's otherwise the same thing with the lasers. It's also fast, skirmisher. Rifleman sucks. Catapult's good. Crusader's good. Thunderbolt's great. Archer's good. Grasshopper is great. Warhammer, good. Good man. Marauder original variant, not great, but the House Merrick variant, fucking awesome. Excuse my language. Yeah, that's what is the House Merrick? The Marauder M, yeah. I mean, just drop those PPCs for a couple of large lasers, dump some extra armor and heat sinks in that bad boy, and go. And go. The thing with the Dragon too is it's heavy and it's fast, so it can actually run down light mechs and just beat them to death. Just run up on a light mech and just kick the shit out of it. Yeah, the Panther's a great mech. One that my brother loves to take with his House Merrick is the Javelin F, which is basically a javelin that said, yeah, screw missiles. Let's just have a bunch of medium lasers. So, yeah, it's a javelin with 4 medium lasers. And it's a lot tougher than you think it is. And if you let that thing get 6 X's away, it just starts eating you alive. Even my beloved Griffin is running from that little bastard. as best as I can because, you know, it gets close. I have penalties to hit it because of my weapons. And it's just been like, take 5 to 20 damage every round. Blam, blam, blam. I was like, yeah, that's no good for me. Anyway, I don't want to because I'm sore, but I got to go do more work because, you know, all I do is work, work, work no matter what. But guys, it was great chatting with you about some Robotech type stuff. Yeah, but the Panther, you know, the Panther is better armed than some mechs are twice its weight. It's kind of crazy, you know. Set the Panther up somewhere and just PPC the shit out of people. And then if a light mech runs up on you, just let them eat those SRMs. And if you really you're making that kind of Curidan Lance, I mean, there's going to be a Jenner somewhere in the neighborhood. And the Jenner mech is the last mech any other mech wants to see anywhere in the neighborhood because that thing is fast enough to get behind whoever you are. And that can get real no bueno real quick, especially if you win initiative enough. If you win initiative 4 or 5 times and you're controlling a Jenner, someone is in a lot of trouble. And if you've got the Jenner just tooling around and you see somebody trying to run up on your Panther buddy, have that Jenner whip in, and whoever's trying to mess around is going to be in some real bad problems really quick. But now, I said I'm going to make a video eventually ranking all of these. Spoiler, Jenner, S tier, all day, every day. All day, every day. That is an S tier light mech. I don't even think there's a light mech in this book that can deal with that thing. That a Jenner can make most medium mechs be like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? You got to watch that guy. Especially, like I said, if it runs up behind you, because you're sitting there with like, I don't know, 10 armor on your back slot and it hits you for 20 because the guy rolls good. And it's like, well, that was nice. Please don't hit the ammo. Oh, you hit the ammo. Let me go ahead and pick up my heavy mech now because, you know, I got ambushed by a freaking Jenner. And believe me, I say that with love because I love the Jenner. I do. I love the Jenner. It is, in my opinion, such a badass. Such a badass. The Jenner is so good that back in the 90s when we had a Bautech club in Orlando, the people who ran all the tourneys and everything made it where you could only have one Jenner in your lance. A lance could never have more than one Jenner because of how OP Jenners can be. You know, they can just be murder machines. And I love it. Now, I got this a while back and I'm just opening it. Sorry, guys. Because, you know, I mean, it's not the scale or anything, but I don't care, you know, whatever. Oh, it needs to be glued together. Okay. They have some bigger ones too, but maybe that is, I mean, depending on how many mechs that carries. Might be close. This is map scale, so. Of course, I'm not looking for them to sell the Confederate drop ship. Quad mechs, I like them, the way they look and everything. I have a Scorpion that I've just started painting actually right here. I'm starting with this base desert color, and then I'm thinking I'll add darker brown. So I'll add brown and then white dots, so it looked like the chocolate chip uniforms we wore when I was in Iraq. It's a neat idea. It's a neat concept, you know. The one concept I never really liked very much was the lamb concept, because it just never made sense to me in the Bautech universe. But that doesn't mean if somebody wanted to take a lamb, I wouldn't let them. I absolutely would. And then I'd crush their face in on the table because lambs suck. But yeah, let it be. So this is a pretty solid chunk of plastic over here. But yeah, no problem. I've got a couple metal Goliaths, and they're all right. They're all right. You know, it's cool that they can keep moving, even if you blow legs off and stuff. But I like the side step too. That's kind of cool. But then the negative is all the weapons pretty much have to be mounted in the torsos, and that's pretty limiting. So, I would classify them as like an oddity that might be cool to play, or that a player in my Mechwarrior game might have to play if they random roll and that's their starting mech. But I don't think I'd ever choose it. So here we go. This is a little one. What is this? This is the Union, which means it's also the Confederate. Pretty much. I think the Confederate was a little smaller than the Union, but yeah, so. Weapons, nominal. Engine, nominal. All systems, nominal. That's going to look good when it's done. It's got deep grooves in it, guys. And the reason I say it's going to look good is I have this accent color from Tamiya. I have black and deep brown. And this stuff, it works by capillary motion. So you just barely touch a line and it's about. Oh, so yeah. That is one thing that, I still have been buying some Catalyst stuff, even though a lot of people are telling me not to. Timmy, I'm getting ready to log off, like literally in a minute. But it does kind of aggravate me that they tried to get rid of the Rommel tank. And it kind of aggravates me that they're not going to do the Confederate drop ship. And it's like, come on, guys. We're Bautech players. We're bigger guys than that. That kind of stuff don't offend us. What offends us is double heat sinks for most of us. You've already offended us. You added double heat sinks into the game, which completely, took all the skill out of it. But no one, if anyone's being offended by that, I doubt they even play the damn game. Plus, the patent's a better tank anyway, But the Rommel's cool. I've got like a whole damn platoon of Rommels in metal, and they stand up really good next to the plastic vehicles that they put out. The metal vehicles, for whatever reason, again, it was like I have the Gundam panel liner pins right up here. And yeah, so this one mech that I painted, the Ostall or whatever, I'm going to write like what it is on the back with my Gundam pin. And yeah, but this stuff is the same. You like pull it out and it's like it's like not toothbrush, it's almost like nail polish. And you just barely tap it onto an indent and you can see it just run all, it makes panel lining so easy. And like I said, I've got the very dark brown and I've got the black. But anyway, guys, peace and love. I got work I got to do. I'll catch you later. Loving the Battletech talk. And yeah,